Bench Opinions. Three idiots with amateur analysis.
Was it?
And the cloud, you stand on the you're standing over the ball and this cloud of fucking strawberry shit just
It's like playing in the rainforest.
Yes, this is bro.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome to episode
8. Ocho.
Bench Opinions, episode 8.
Ocho.
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 What was that? ESPN, the Ocho. What was it from? Dodgeball.
Dodgeball, that's a good one. Also, 8 things that we try and avoid on a golf course. Snowmen.
It feels like it.
What's happening here?
I don't know. It feels like it's like right under my double chin there. Did you guys have a good weekend?
You put it on the inside.
Idiot.
So people haven't heard all the jokes I made.
Maybe a good thing.
I had a good weekend.
Oh, you guys didn't spend it together, eh?
We played golf on Sunday.
Well, Sunday we spent together, yeah.
Saturday?
Saturday we both did our own thing.
Yeah, watched the rugby though, which is good, separately.
Separately.
All of us, for the first time in a while.
Yeah, none of us were together.
We were together last week but didn't watch it. This
Someone
week
messaged me and was like, where do you watch the rugby? And I was like, so this is a girl I knew from a while back. And I was like, at Belushi's? She's like, they're not showing it there. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're showing it there.
Yeah,
and then she sends me a screenshot of like the football lineup that they've got posted. I'm like, you're at the wrong Belushi's. And then she just doesn't write back. And then like at like 9 o'clock that night, she's like, thanks, it worked. I was like,
okay.
you're welcome.
Is not now your role in society?
I don't know. People are quite short with me. What was it? I don't remember what I got upset about today, but there was something that I got upset about, and it was also with people. I'm like, so inconsiderate, you know? I go out of my way to do stuff for people, and it's just like...
But you shouldn't do to receive.
No, I don't do it.
See, that's the problem, bro. You want to be showered in gratitude by people.
Maxie's got expectations.
Don't be a pussy either, bro.
Is you hear Maxie come around the corner? I wonder when this oak's going to buy me stuff for all the things I've done for him, man.
Do you know, talking about expectations, so I was on a golf weekend with our golf team, and we were just speaking about how I brought the average age down. I think the youngest people there are like, the other youngest guy must be like beginning of his 40s, like Zasha must be mid 40s. Yeah. Everyone else, north. So it's the men's team, the senior men's team, and then the ladies or senior ladies or ladies. I don't know if they even have a difference, but there's 3 teams there. And on the Saturday we play, so we get jumbled together so that people meet each other. So we play a format where you take the best drive from there. Everyone plays their own ball. Okay, so the idea is for the long hitters to get the high handicaps down there, so that the high handicaps can then try and make points for you.
Okay, got you.
So I was on a team with Reiner, who is for the listeners, he's been a club champ with us for a while.
Guys like clockwork. Yeah.
But I'm having a terrible day. So it was blowing 60k an hour winds, and I suddenly out of nowhere have developed a hook.
Welcome to my world.
Yes. Did I get a
high hook?
No.
Okay, so
low
at least you didn't have hang
come
time.
Straight over the top. Then I tried to fix it. Then I left my club face open. Then it would just go sky right.
Nice.
And
good for the win.
When we talk about expectations, Reiner got so excited the night before when he was paid up with you. He's like, "You're going to put us down there."
And he's such a nice guy. I know you used to do well with expectations as well.
I was like,
the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yeah, because so then after 9 holes, I had to they have like these lake ball bags that they allow for 5 years. I had to buy 2 of the bags because I was on each hole. I was putting away like 2 balls, not even just from the drive. From the second shot, I was also sailing them out because it's like that rough where you can't find the ball anymore. But then I figured it out on Sunday.
Okay, so you're ready for the wind in Scotland this week?
I'm not going to hit the driver.
Are you just going to leave the driver at home?
It just feels like there's too much that
What if you buy a new driver today?
No. Then all 3 of the guys the people in my group started giving me swing tips.
Wait.
Oh, that's always nice to have.
They're all like 28 handicaps. And I was like, fuck off.
Sounds like you had a good weekend.
I did have a good weekend. It was draining though. But anyways.
And how much of the mishaps were maybe due to the drinking on course?
I didn't actually drink that much on course.
Oh, is it?
No.
I remember last year you said it was quite a
there was, last year it was all just fun and games. This year there was actually prizes to be won.
Okay.
I saw there were certificates.
People took it quite serious. Yeah, you could win money for the pro shop at Weir.
Nice.
I didn't win anything, but it was still a good time. And then on the second day we played a scramble, and did better there. You know, I'm better when when everyone's, at fault. And I can just bomb it down and see. How was the Saturday night party?
Saturday night party. Well, you mean the rugby?
Yeah.
Well, I missed the first 20 minutes because I had passed out on the couch. And then turned on the TV and realized we were winning.
I thought you were at Erik's place to watch the game.
No. You see, I went and I played golf on Saturday as well.
Oh.
Played a nice round there at Arnold Palmer, Batsaro. And then came home, slept, missed the first 20 minutes, woke up, suddenly we were 14-0 up. I was like, oh, it's quite a hot
start.
Hot start that we're on. Brought me back to last weekend when we also had a hot start and then lost the game. So I was like, oh, maybe this isn't the best thing we need. And then watched the game here on the couch with Michael.
Nice.
And it was a very enjoyable game to watch, I must say.
Yeah, let's talk about the Rugby Championship. Rugby Champs sitting on this couch. I mean,
yes, us three.
Us three.
One of 3 of 60 million. Actually.
There we go. Good performance though by the Springboks.
Jeez, I mean, no superlatives really sum it up. Unbelievable. It just got absolutely. We were like a runaway train. It was insane.
That 7th minute scrum.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can also honestly, I think the ref almost pitied the Argentinians with that first phase of play.
Yeah.
Because I was watching with some friends and we just said, if these were normal infringements or these normal penalties, the referee would have gotten a card out long ago. But I think they had 3 or 4 scrum penalties within the first 5 minutes. And I was like, how do you give it? The guy's just being absolutely out-scrummed.
Yeah.
There's nothing cynical about it. So that was quite interesting to see as well. And then just put the foot down. And interesting that Argentina hadn't had one yellow card the whole tournament. Yeah. And then they ended up playing Uno with the referee there. But also just completely lost their heads. And I think they just had no chance, to be honest.
It seemed like every Springbok player had a good day.
Yeah.
I think.
Especially Marnie.
Marnie did have a good day. And it's because they didn't let him kick.
Yeah.
They said, don't let that get in the way of your gameplay. And
well, after Jaden slotted the first couple kicks, I'm like, we have a kicker. And then he, funny enough, started doing the Marnie Libok, the good old hook there.
So
did he end with like 50% kick rate?
Yeah, well, he wasn't great. I mean, he slotted the first couple. He slotted really well, and then I think it almost felt like a concentration. I think.
But you can see the strategy, I think, developing where if Marnie plays, they prefer to maybe have someone else do the kicking, just because it does probably take away from your general gameplay confidence as well. If you're 1 out of 4 kicks, suddenly maybe your passing or whatever your confidence in gameplay takes a hit, because that's where his strength lies. He's so, like, the stuff he does is.
Sure.
I mean, there was a friend of ours that posted a screenshot of minute-by-minute plays of where Marnie was involved, and the list was essentially like every second minute.
And he seemed to have only made
pivotal.
two real mistakes on that list were missed passes or something like that.
But I mean, at a stage, you saw it looked like we were riding on such a high level of confidence that they were just tossing the ball around. It's playing super high-risk rugby. So I think the mistakes. Fassi made a couple mistakes towards the end of the game. Generally had a fantastic game, so he's growing into that number 15 jersey really nicely. Peter Steph du Toit, unbelievable. That first try he scored. Yeah, it's anybody's guess how he hangs on to that. It's kind of like he was like in the dark. Like where can I put it down? With all one hand, and then a special mention to Irvin.
Yeah,
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Most capped Springbok.
What a career he's had, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon as well, which is quite scary.
I mean, he could very likely be at the next World Cup. I think if he
stays fit, he's there. Yeah,
he's going to be there, depending on what role he gets. But
that's exactly what Russ is trying to do with blooding in these new players or the younger players, keeping the longevity of their careers of the older players alive.
Yeah.
So he can make it, definitely.
Yeah, a la Dwayne Vermeulen or Frans Steyn, I guess, that kind of a role as well. If he needs something, if he's good enough, he'll play. But, just having him in and around the dressing room is unreal.
Yeah, some nice attacking play under, is it Leon? Who's our attacking coach there? That former
Brown.
All Black.
Tony Brown.
Tony Brown.
Which name were you going with? Leon?
I think I was going for Leonard Brown, but that is someone very different.
Yeah, good stuff. And I think that's another reason why they've decided to really stick to Marnie as well, because I think Russie's a kind of all-in guy, I feel like. And if he's going to bring someone like Brown on board, he's going to be like, we're going to do it with the best possible. We're going to give this the best possible chance. And I think Marnie's the guy for it. I think he's the best distributor of the ball. I think that's that's not disputed. And you're just seeing it really come to the fore now. Also, a shout out to the crowd in Nelspruit as well. There was the first half an hour, I think 40 minutes. The players just kept not hearing the whistle.
Yeah.
That's how loud it
The
was.
rendition of the anthem was great.
Sorry, Mbombela, I should say, not Nelspruit. Yeah.
The crowd got so psyched up that some of them decided to run onto the field.
Yeah.
Great streaking.
And the one guy got tip tackled, and then the other oak got smashed from behind. Like,
I'm still trying to put together, like, because I saw the security guys in their high vis, and they were slipping all over the place. And then there was this bunch of other dudes in like white t-shirts.
yeah,
that
It looked like a South African B team.
Yeah,
It was just
yeah.
there warming up after the game.
we obviously hope that one streak is okay because he was knocked out.
I love the guy that tackled him. He sort of looks at him and he's like, and he kept on singing.
Time out.
But yeah, it's the danger of running onto a rugby pitch.
Yeah, don't do it because you could get flattened. That oak did
Yeah.
not see that guy coming.
Yeah.
No, big oaks. I was surprised to see some women running around as well. It's like, yes.
Yeah, the
got to be
Mbombela
chaotic.
security definitely was quite leaky.
Yeah.
Something that came out today, which I think fits in well together with Mani having a good day, is Dobson from the Stormers coming out and saying that Feinberg and Ngomezulu is going to be out longer than expected, probably until the end of the year, because it's the same knee that he injured once before. They don't want to take any risks, and so he'll probably miss the end of year tour as well. So it's good that Mani has a bit of confidence, because if he had left him out after the game that he played so terribly in, who knows how he would have slotted back in. Now you've got Pollard and Libok, and you can even bring in Sia, Masuku,
Or you play someone else who can kick Jordan Hendricks
or Hendricks. Like, so it's good to have that backup. It's a pity about Sasha, because those were great performances.
And crazy momentum for him as well.
Yeah. So now you just hope that he recovers quickly and there's nothing lasting damage there.
It is quite alarming, because a knee injury is one of those things that gives you niggles throughout your career. If it's something like a cracked rib or something like that, it's not a joint. Joints always freak me out.
Or a foot injury.
Or foot injury.
Like yours.
I know all
Which
about
is
foot injury.
curbed Klaus's rugby career.
Oh, it's curbed everything in my
Used to
career.
be vice captain. Now you don't even go anymore.
I was never. We've got one or two of the tag rugby guys who watch, and I was never vice captain. I was never proclaimed.
He was vice captain. Just put it in the comments. He was
This was
vice
something
captain.
that Maxi, for whatever reason, made
Well,
up
I mean,
in his
you
mind.
sometimes brought the bibs. Which I
Yeah,
think
but-
is what the vice captain does.
No, that's what the kit boy does.
Kid boy.
Yeah,
Jesus,
I was the kit boy,
Kid boy.
like
All
on
right.
the odd occasion.
Jeez, like, okay,
I
what
was
about the other?
I was the assistant to the regional manager
Okay.
for kit.
So the vice captain.
No, only exclusively for kit.
The other game, New Zealand, Australia. Australia started quite well.
They did, yeah.
Mm.
And they could. That happened when they played us as well. They were almost going into halftime ahead,
Yeah.
and then they concede just before halftime, which I think it does give you a little bit of a different momentum. And when the All Blacks came out in the second half,
But
the
even
Australians
that
had no reply.
even that 10-minute phase before halftime by the All Blacks they cut through them like it was going out of business.
Yeah.
I mean, the fullback just sliced to them. I remember a commentary from Justin Marshall going, I don't even know how he got through there.
Yeah.
But he just sliced to them like it was almost similar to Curtly Arendt's try with them passing these guys like they're standing still. And then some other good backline play as well, but just too good.
Do you think it's got to do with a lack of fitness from the Australian side, or do you think it's a lack of variation so that the New Zealanders figured them out?
Do you mean their attacking play or like in general?
Both.
I
Their
think-
defensive structures as well as their attacking play.
I think there is probably there are some teams that are probably fitter than others, but I do think that all of them are at a relatively high level. I think their preparation and stuff is probably not as detailed and as varied as the All Blacks and the South Africans are.
I also think it's a sense of self-belief as well. I mean, I was watching a bit of the extended highlights at least. I didn't catch any of the game, but watching it, and they seem to have they do have a very young side.
Yeah.
And they just seem to be there's just not any conviction behind anything they do. Even when they went ahead, their fly half also then started a penalty. The decision to whether we take the penalty or not, or what we do, it was just there's just not the system and these processes to what you've learned from like the more experienced set. And I think that's what Schmidt will be, I think, struggling with a little bit at the moment. is that he's trying to build a team from nothing. Almost, it feels like. And that's what I felt like it was. And it just looked like they went ahead and they seemed all right. And I remember watching starting the penalty, and then they just seemed like deer in headlights after that. As soon as New Zealand got a foothold in the game, it was kind of just disjointed.
Because I know that in the South African team, from all of the teams in the championship, we scored the most amount of tries in the fourth quarter. And instead of pundits saying, "Oh, that had a lot to do with fitness," they were saying that had a lot to do with our squad depth and our bench depth. So I was just wondering if they maybe just don't have the squad, the 23-man squad, or if they don't have the fitness.
No, I was going to ask, do you think it's fair to say that the players also just aren't as good as the New Zealand and New Zealand and South African players?
For sure. I think
player for player, I think there might be a skill set, but I think all in all, with the confidence that you have from winning, I think we just have better players, and that may change in future. Australia may come back, but at the moment their players just aren't as good as Ireland. They're probably that's why they're ranked where they're ranked. I mean, they're now competing with Wales, Italy, Fiji, those kind of teams, and will do well to beat them.
But I mean, even if you look back at when Super Rugby was still going, the Australian teams would always, if you threw all the New Zealand teams into one pot, all the Australian teams into one pot, and all the South African teams into one pot, the depth in the Australian setup was always the lowest.
Yeah.
And I think that's just been compounded by no more Super Rugby the way it used to be, lack of interest in the country, a lot of guys choosing to play rugby league instead of that, and I think that's just thinned it out now. I mean, I think back, you think about it, dominant displays, the Reds had one good year, the Brumbies always had a decent side, and the Waratahs had a couple of good years, but the rest of the time, the Rebels, the Western Force, not really. They had to close the union at one point, or eventually. So I think they've just been kicked down the road, really.
Yeah.
Does Australia permit its players to play overseas?
I don't know.
I wonder if that.
Do you know what I saw recently, and I was caught me by surprise? James O'Connor has just left the Reds, and I was like, this guy still exists.
Still plays.
He still plays.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know how old he is. I mean, he was also the golden child there, and then he ended up going overseas as well. But I don't think they do let. I think they've got a similar rule to the New Zealanders.
Yeah.
They don't let the players leave unless they have a certain amount of
minimum
tests.
caps.
Predictions.
I think I did very well, actually.
You clean swept the thing.
Yes.
You got the New Zealand game exactly right.
20 points,
by
right?
20 points.
Yeah.
And you were closest in the
I was going to say
South Africa
nobody
game.
was
Nobody
actually
guessed
close.
by 41 points, but you said 20. So it got you past me.
Yes.
Klaus finished on 10. You finished on 8. I finished on 7. But no one thought of a forfeit.
That's true.
So I get away with murder.
Maybe we think of one there to film in
No,
Scotland.
you can't think of one later.
Why? Okay, hold on. Let's flip the script. If I had finished last, you would have gotten all the ideas.
Well, I thought we should have come up with an idea beforehand, but I was cautiously.
Vote in the comments if we should have a forfeit for him. Even if it's just someone just comment once, then we do a forfeit.
Like 3 people.
Yeah. So best comment out of 3 wins.
Yeah.
No,
First question.
They don't get to choose the forfeit.
No, but first question.
I've got a suggestion that.
Hold on.
that
First
could be
question.
used.
We need to clarify this though. First question: was Klaus the vice captain? Yes, no. Second question: should we do a forfeit? Those are the things you can answer this week.
But okay, so if they say should we do a forfeit, then we still don't have the forfeit. What's your
We'll
suggestion?
figure something out in Scotland.
Well, we went on a golf holiday last
here we
year,
go.
and the loser never did their punishment.
That's wild.
And that punishment was that whoever lost
I love this.
the tournament that we had going on had to get a spray tan.
And we're only there for 4 days, and we're playing golf the whole time.
We're in the land of the spray tan.
It's true.
We'll talk about it. We'll see
We'll
if there's a gap in the schedule.
If we get 10 likes on the video.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That we can do.
I just, mom, dad.
No. No one. No families.
I don't know if the analytics show us that.
Let's move on to URC.
Erik.
Yeah. South African teams, mixed bag. 2 wins, 2 losses.
Yeah.
Lions won at home, which surprised me because I didn't think they could do it. But hats off to your team.
Ironically, it was the 2 teams. No, not necessarily the 2 teams I didn't think we were going to win, but it was.
Yeah. I think the Bulls at home will probably.
Yeah, they were definitely favourites. But I did think the Lions would struggle against Ulster.
Yeah.
I just thought we've lost a lot of key players
Yeah.
from last season. And Ulster performed quite well against whoever they played last week. I forget now. But man, the Lions played really well.
Good
Like
though, but
really
I mean,
exciting
the South
stuff.
African teams are coming off their rugby season, I guess. So, and that's a slight advantage, I guess. A lot of the guys that
There's
played in
debates
the
about that, right? Because then they also say like, well, they
tired,
maybe
sure.
were tired.
But I think maybe towards the end of the tournament, you might see the Northern Hemisphere teams benefit of coming into the season relatively fresh or into the competition. But I think now, you got the Lions. Most of the Lions squad played a Currie Cup final last week, and now they come straight into the game. And we saw it with the Irish teams in week 1. Impossible to predict who to pick for your fantasy team until the starting lineups came up, because they rested so many of their first players because they're trying to bleed guys in. So I think they definitely benefited of that. And the Bulls are a strong outfit. I think you look at them on paper, and they're a strong outfit. They're well coached, you would think.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, the Sharks are also a strong outfit, and
they went away to Connacht and almost did it. I guess.
Well, I would say they lost it. I mean, they were so far ahead, and then they managed to fumble that one.
They were, I think, I was keeping live tabs on those results, and the Stormers were never really in it. They also threw it away.
Tried to knock on the door towards
and
the end.
The Sharks, I thought, were going to do it, but they didn't. So
long season though,
season,
and I think the teams that you go away to Connacht, give it a good run. I think the South African teams will just really be looking to beat the lower. I mean, that's the problem with Stormers. Is the Stormers lost to the Ospreys. It's just just really should be beating the Ospreys.
Well, I think,
if you're going on tour and you're looking at which of the teams can we beat on tour, the Ospreys are probably one of them that you've checked down as, okay, we could get some points.
I think it's just, you're right, but I think it's just because it's the first game.
Yeah.
It was
cagey.
It was cagey.
A lot of Springboks still away.
The Stormers weren't in the Currie Cup knockout rounds. No, were they in the semis, or I think
no,
so. No,
because the semis were Bulls, Sharks, Cheetahs,
and Lions.
Lions.
So maybe they had a longer break. Some players coming back from injury, like Willemse. Going into game week 2, I've got the fixtures on my. Oh wait, before we get into that,
game week 3, by the way.
But game week 3, how's Munster losing to Zebra?
That was
wild, but it's completely outplayed.
Because
it was insane.
This is why it makes the picking so blimmin' impossible.
Yeah.
But this is also what makes URC so exciting.
Yeah, well now
you can have these massive upsets.
Such high scoring games as well, which is cool.
Lots of
problem is now the Stormers play Zebra, and now this is
where you pick Zebra in your fantasy team.
This is well now I use ChatGPT to predict the results for game week 2, and I am now so far last.
In your predictions or in your fantasy?
In my predictions.
Okay.
Yeah, your fantasy team did well, though.
I was
my fantasy team did really well.
I'm predicting one, but I just can't predict which players are going to do anything.
This guy, I had Carl Steyn in my team, and for whatever reason, I took him out, and then I saw you had him in your team as the captain, so you doubled down on the point.
Me and Vian.
And he scored like 2 tries and
he
beat, I don't know,
90 points on his own, I think.
60.
60, yeah.
60. Yeah, no, it was a good week. So let's go into the games for next week, just so that we can see if there's anything big. Lions at home to Edinburgh. I think that's going to be a really good game.
I think that's going to be
Edinburgh are 0-2. So I think they want to get a win on the board, but the Lions started well.
Have they got to come to Ellis Park?
It's going to be
the Lions' Den.
The 7 Oaks in there are going to really create a great atmosphere.
The attendance was terrible. I mean, it was running at the same time as the Springboks game, so I think lots of people didn't come because of that, and then lots of people don't come because it's Ellis Park and it's in a dodgy area.
And they might have, because of the Currie Cup final, a lot of the
fatigue. Lions supporter fatigue.
Yeah. Bulls versus Ulster at Loftus. I think the Bulls should take that. Dragons versus Sharks.
If the Sharks don't do it against the Dragons, then I'm sorry.
Then what are we even doing?
Yeah, then those Americans must sell their stake and go and spend it on thickwass or something.
No, they must come to the Lions. We could use the money to retain some of our players.
Yeah.
And the last one, as we said, Zebra versus Stormers. And I think, listen, I would have said before last week that the Stormers need to win that, but now I'm not sure.
In Italy or
Italy.
Zebra? No, they can do it. They can do it.
I think Munster must have had a bad day. I didn't watch the game, but they got
to watch the highlights.
This is where you panic and you get 3 Zebra players in your team. You put one of them as your captain. No, I'm kidding. You don't do that. Don't do that.
I would be surprised if Zebra can replicate it.
Yeah.
From the highlights that I saw, it seemed like they just had a really great day and it all clicked. But I don't think it's I don't think it's a sustainable.
Do you guys know how long it takes for the Springboks to get played back into these teams? Do you think the boys will be traveling across the Stormers players? I don't think so.
I doubt
I
it.
don't think so. I think they'll wait for them to come home.
Yeah, and I think even for the ones that are based here,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if any of them go straight into the team.
I think they'll have a 2-3 week break.
Yeah.
Those guys must be finished.
I mean, I saw Francois Herb right on the beer there in the dressing room afterwards. So I think
all of them.
Yeah. Last thing about rugby, I think, is some Twickenham news.
Hit me.
Here we go.
They're hosting the Women's World Cup in England next year,
Okay.
and because of sponsorship laws, they can't call it the Alliance Stadium during the tournament. They have to go back to Twickenham.
Why?
Because of sponsorship rules. You
Maybe.
can't have a brand as the stadium name, which apparently is why in Japan in 2019 it wasn't called the Nissan Stadium, it was called the Yokohama Stadium.
Got you. Okay.
So you can't have a brand as the
So a brand that's
naming-
not a title sponsor of the
Yeah.
tournament. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
So they're back.
Twickenham was back.
Twickenham's back, but only for the tournament.
For the Women's World Rugby
Yeah.
World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay, good for them. Good for them.
Let's go into some golf. President's Cup.
Yes.
I know you watched a bit.
Yeah.
We did watch a bit as well.
Also watched, yeah.
US took an 18.5, 11.5. I don't think it's necessarily a fair reflection of how it went. I read a stat that the internationals only lost one hole or one, difficult to formulate.
Clearly.
Take your time.
The internationals won one less hole overall than the USA did, which is a very tight margin.
Okay.
But let's talk about a few things. Maybe the crowd on Thursday. Did you guys watch on
There's
Thursday?
barely anybody there.
It was.
Yeah.
Barren.
It was like going to a Sunshine Tour event.
Yeah, I think. It wasn't good.
Tom Kim did mention it in his speech afterwards. Said there's no point in having home advantage if we don't get crowd backing. And then the crowd really did show up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they were loud.
Yeah.
So
they were good. They were giving the Americans a lot of grief. I think it helps that it's Canada, because I don't think the Canadians, every time the Canadians can give the Americans a bit of grief, they will. But I must say, personally, hats off to the international team, but also the whole President's Cup organization, because I wasn't really excited for it going into it, and I also didn't have any expectations at all. But definitely quite a showcase of golf. I mean, for the internationals to come back after getting whacked 5-0, and then come back and win 5-0 and keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And then even going into Sunday, look, I was saying to Brian, our Canadian friend, yesterday, I said to him, as soon as I saw that they were 3 points ahead the States, I felt like it was just too much. Going into the singles, felt like if they could have won one of the last games, it was 2 points. Maybe there's a bit more to work with.
Yeah.
But I think we always knew that head-to-head, player by player, pound for pound, it was just never going to really be a context.
There's only one player on the international team who has a winning record. So not a neutral record, but a winning record. And that is?
Poseidon Holt.
Yes.
Every time I turned on the TV,
the Canadians
in the yellow.
The Canadians got absolutely thumped on our team. So did Adam Scott,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And he was the one who said before the tournament that he needs to come out as a leader and have a real winning record, like a 4-0. And he couldn't do it. Something which I read, which has been criticized quite a lot, is Mike Weir. So he did very well to get the players back up after Thursday.
Yeah.
To get them to win 5-0 on Friday, because that's one hell of a comeback. And then on Saturday, he did something strange. For the first time in history, a President's Cup captain has chosen to play exactly the same players in the morning and the afternoon. So he sent out the exact same pairings, and 3 of them were really struggling already. Matsuyama was one of them, and I think Pendrith might have been another one. And they did all right on the first 9 of the back 9, and then they just got absolutely smacked because they were all so fatigued.
Yeah.
And he left 4 players on the bench that were then called for Saturday.
Yeah.
So he didn't. I thought that was a massive mistake. I thought that was.
Come out with reasoning.
I think they were the best players from the day before, from the 5-0 victory, but I don't think he gave a reason as to why he didn't replace them in the afternoon. But
it's a lot of golf, even for the pros. It's so much golf
with practice rounds ahead of it.
It's such a high level, such a competitive level.
And it makes very little sense, because even though Poseidon Holt and Minwoo Lee and Jason Day maybe weren't lighting up the course, like, put them out there, just because
momentum.
they weren't doing worse than the guys who were playing in the morning did, because like you said, they went down 3-1 in the I think in the morning sessions, and to then send those Oaks out again, and to get absolutely butchered, and then send Jason Day out first after not playing the whole Saturday to get absolutely minced by, was it Morikawa or was it Xander? He got absolutely rinsed. So I think one has to be honest that Mike Weir's captaincy wasn't up to
Because
standard,
he's such an absolute legend and amazing person in golf.
Yeah. So I read some comments, and I think people are quite harsh on him because the internationals had a legitimate chance of winning this one after day 2.
Yeah.
And they were up against world beaters. The US scorecards are all 4-1. Schauffele, Scheffler, Morikawa, all their superstars performed, and to then have on the other side us being able to win with, I mean, guys like the Zadenhout and whoever else there is on that team.
What I also read, interestingly enough, even though Royal Montreal is the oldest golf course in North America, or golf club in North America, so that's where they played the event. What I read, though, also there was a little bit of criticism in the direction of the President's Cup organizers, at least the international side who get to choose where they host it, saying, why are you picking such an American-style golf course?
Yeah.
Because essentially it's a PGA-style golf club, of course. Yeah. It's point and shoot, and you're just, a lot of them saying you're playing into the hands of the Americans. Absolutely. And I agree, because if you look at the Europeans, they tend to choose very European-centric golf courses, and I think there's a big argument to be made for that, where you say, hey, listen, you're on our turf now. You're gonna play something in Australia or something in South Africa, as they did with the fan court links back in the day. And this just seemed to play straight into the hands of the Americans. And there's even golf courses in Canada. I don't remember. I think Cabot Cliffs was one of the ones that they said they could have easily played. Would have been a little bit left of center, not something that's part of like the PGA Tour circuit from time to time. Just an argument that could be made.
That's cool. Very interesting. That
it seems like they're so far behind the 8 ball, the international teams.
It's difficult because I think the Americans automatically have an advantage in that sense, because the fact that the core of players over sort of 3 or 4 Ryder Cups and President's Cups tend to be quite similar. Yeah. And it feels like there's a unit there, and it feels like, I don't think it is, but even the people pulling the strings seem to be the same people. It's interesting now also that with Keegan Bradley sinking the winning putt, he goes on to be Ryder Cup captain. Yeah. That's unbelievable, So he's going in from winning with the Americans against the internationals, albeit the President's Cup, as a player going into being a captain. He's already said that he's not going to, even if he could play and captain, he never would, because he says you can't do both. It's impossible, which I agree. I think that's a sensible decision from him. But I think there is just automatically an advantage there.
Yeah, no, for sure. But where do the internationals go from here? How do they win? Because this was now on home soil. I think if you looked at their squad beforehand, they definitely were underdogs, but they were close again. They were close, not the last one, I think the one before that. So how do they get over the line? Because they're not going to do it in the next one in the US.
I personally believe that they should relook at how they pick their sides. I think it's too PGA Tour centric. That's my opinion. I think it's too PGA Tour centric. I think, for example, someone like Tristan Lawrence could have totally contributed to that side.
Yeah.
And I think he was just out of the reckoning because the points on the DP World Tour don't count as much as the points do on the PGA Tour to get into the side. And I think you maybe have to relook at that. You really have to try and get good at a strategy that is outside of this PGA, because you're going to lose every time. America is going to churn out way better players that know each other better, who come through playing Walker Cup together as amateurs. You're not going to be able to, so you have to box clever, and I think they're going to have to really reinvent the wheel in that sense. It's unfortunate as for us as South Africans that there aren't as many. Our boys aren't there anymore, particularly with them all moving over to LIV, or the best South African golfers arguably now play on LIV. It's tricky.
Really? I mean, Brendan Grace, isn't he getting relegated there from LIV?
Possibly, but I mean, Dean Burmester came onto the European Tour last December and won 2 events, and he's a really good player.
Do we maybe have to have a look at what our captains are doing there? Because Mike Weir chose a lot of Canadians. Obviously, it's in Canada, but a few of them just weren't up to scratch. And Ernie Els used to do it with a few South Africans as well, picking your Tim Clarks and stuff like that, who just never contributed. And it's almost like they don't have enough knowledge of other leagues in the world, like you're saying, the DP World Tour, maybe on the Asian Tour, maybe there's more players that could be on them, that they're not casting the net fairly in a sense that they pick the players from their home country just because that's the one they know.
There was Luke Donald got a lot of praise for putting together his whole team when they won the last Ryder Cup, the Europeans. And one of the big things that came to the forefront was Eduardo Molinari, who was one of his vice captains. And Eduardo is the less famous, for anyone who doesn't know, he's the less famous brother out of the Molinari brothers. Francesco won the Open, has had arguably a way better career. And Eduardo still plays on the European Tour and performs. He keeps his card, and he's been on the tour for, I think, 15 years now. But Eduardo Molinari, actually, over the years, he's always been a stats guy. And he launched a company that really just looks purely at stats. Right. In golf. His company, for example, helped Matt Fitzpatrick win his major. And a lot of people said that when Luke Donald went into picking his captain's picks, it was completely stat-driven. They looked at the course, they looked at what the players were good at, and that's how they ended up.
They moneyballed it.
They moneyballed it, sifting through it. And maybe that's where, again, they're going to have to try and beat the US on a different sort of metric.
Yeah. This is what I was asking you yesterday, because, excuse me, yesterday I suggested to Dom, I was like, well, you've got Scotty Scheffler, who's had arguably the best season of his career and has outplayed everybody in the PGA. Why take our best player, who was arguably Matsuyama, and pin him against a guy who's most probably going to beat him? So you're going to lose that point anyway. Why not playing him against a weak
Matsuyama won the singles point
against Scotty on the fourth day?
Yeah. He beat him 1-up.
Yeah.
This is then I read.
And then what was my answer yesterday? I said match play in stroke play. I would probably take that, because I'd be like, you're not beating Scotty Scheffler in stroke play.
Then I take it back, because then I misread the scorecard.
So that's why I said. So I said to Klaus, I think match play is you have to at the end of the day put a team out there that you think genuinely has a chance of beating in each match. Otherwise, you have no chance.
Do you know who had the worst week? Harman. It was 0-3.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
Yeah. I mean, he is.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer, more interesting, more exciting person than Brian Harman.
Maybe last thing. Finishing up on golf. Jon Rahm played on the DP World Tour again.
Yes.
Because he has appealed his fine, or all the fines that he has gotten. So now, while that appeals process is going through, he can play on the DP World Tour.
Yeah.
He can gain points for the Ryder Cup, which I think for Ryder Cup is good.
So fill me in here. What fine?
So when you choose to go to live, you get fined every time you play a live tournament. So every time you play a competitor tour game, you get fined. And he has racked up, I think, in the millions of fines. And his thing was just never to pay them, because
out of principle.
But now, if you don't pay them or you don't appeal the fines, you can't play on the Ryder Cup, because that's the only way to be part of the European Ryder Cup team. So he's appealed that, and that appeals process will now make its way. And he played, and I think it's the Spanish Open, wasn't it? And he came second.
Yeah. Lost in a playoff to Hidalgo.
Yeah.
Impressive display from Hidalgo. I don't know how anyone can beat Jon Rahm in a playoff. And Hidalgo is he's very small in stature. I think he's only 5'3" or something. And he went on to win his first ever win on tour, and he went wire to wire.
Yeah,
which is quite impressive. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the dreaded topic of the Premier League.
Oh, can I kick this one off?
Oh God,
Klaus,
I've been
waiting. Yours.
I've been waiting all night for this one. Dominic,
yes.
How are you feeling?
Condolences.
The Spurs.
I preferred you when you weren't into football, even remotely.
From the Hearts lanes.
Oh my God.
I've gone and done it.
Okay.
Oh God.
Tottenham beat United 3-0.
For everyone who didn't understand what he was trying to tell us
at Old Trafford.
That's all I wanted to say. Now I'm out.
Klaus even mentioned it to me yesterday. He's like, hey, look at the score.
Yeah.
So I think he's now got notifications set on there.
No. I was actually consciously looking at the score.
Nice.
It was hilarious.
Dom, I saw on your girlfriend's Instagram that you and Desonia and the dog were watching.
Yes. There's so much to get into, and I don't want to waffle. At the end of the day, look, let's work backwards here.
Here we go.
Let's work backwards. After a performance like that, I tend to try and listen to what the coach says, because it's really important for me how a coach unpacks it. and Erik ten Hag very quickly reached for the red card as a veiled excuse. But the reality of the matter is we should have been 3-0 down after 30 minutes before
the red card. You were already playing terribly.
We shit the bed. We were absolutely nowhere close to the game. We couldn't get string passes together. We were completely overwhelmed by Tottenham.
No, just under pressure the whole time, man. It's just under the cosh.
No disrespect to Tottenham, but we also cannot forget that Tottenham, we're not talking about one of the top sides in the Premier League in Tottenham, no offense.
No.
We're talking here about a team that's fighting to be top 4, and if they make top 4, would be a very good season for them. So this leads me to, and I know this question is going to come, what do we say about Erik ten Hag? 2 questions that you need to answer.
Please go back and listen to episode 2.
hey, I'm not fickle. And I said this after the first bad result this season, that I really still believe that he could get the best out of this team. And again, proof is always in the pudding. Huh?
When is he going to get the best out of this team?
Listen, let me finish.
Okay.
That's what I believed. The problem is, you're now staring down the barrel. And the 2 questions you can't answer for me is A, what is United's footballing identity? There still isn't any. And B, is he getting the best out of the squad of players he has? And the answer is very clearly no. So I think we're at a point now where I honestly believe that we play Porto on Thursday in the Europa League, and then we play Villa on the weekend. If he doesn't get, in my opinion, if he doesn't get 4 points out of those 2 games, I think he's definitely gone.
You think 4 points?
If he
I
doesn't,
think you guys are lucky if you get 1 point.
I'm saying if he doesn't get 4 points, he's gone.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of it. Is who do you get? I don't know. There's just so many excuses, and I think that's the big problem at United. There's so many excuses. A lot of people saying, "Oh, but this is his first season with the right structure." Bro, win football games. Honestly, win football games. That's what you're out there to do. You cannot be beaten 3-0 at home by Spurs.
And like you said, not playing that way.
Yeah.
If you get beaten 3-0 because you've thrown the kitchen sink, you're a man down, but you've played beautiful football. I've never seen a team give the ball away outside their own box as much as United did. It looked like it was like an under-11s team against the senior team.
And let's not forget the 7 saves that Onana made as well. I mean, it could have been worse than Liverpool's result.
You're lucky that Timo Werner plays for Tottenham.
That's true.
Because then if it was Son on that left wing, I think.
Yeah, so I think the writing's on the wall. I don't know where we go from here. A lot of the United fraternity very upset.
Can I ask you a
personal question?
No, hypothetical.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, what I've observed with United, and it's not just under Ten Hag, it was before that as well, is that you guys go through difficult periods. And then sometimes you get a half of football or a whole game where they play a little bit better, and the whole conversation switches. Like it's completely like you've forgotten the what's past, and now everyone's like, here we go, and then it quickly goes partying. Do you want him to have good results this week, or are you more like maybe it is time to and this is not going to be held against you. It's just not nice to watch your football team lose the whole time.
Yes, but I can never ever be someone that wishes that United loses. I just can't be. I'm someone that says if he manages to come out of this week winning games, no matter how he does it, if he gets 6 points out of the next 2 games this week, for me, cool. He stays, we move on. I think when you start getting into these realms of but I think now at least this season it really has been linear. The excitement I think was justified. I've spoken about this. The excitement was justified coming out of the transfer window in the summer. Ineos, we got some good players, some exciting players. And everyone thought said, okay, now Ten Hag what he needs to thrive. And that excitement stayed there while the performances were good. The results weren't even good, but the performances were at least decent. Palace, we played really well, should have probably won that game, didn't. And then we played terribly against Twente.
Yeah.
And Twente are a nothing side. They're a championship side.
Yeah.
And now this, I just don't see how's he going to pick it up from here? And I think and then people say, the players have down tools. We need to blame the players. I've always been an old school dude. It's the manager's job to get the best out of those professionals. And and you can lay blame on the players, of course, but at the end of the day, you get paid big money to make it work. And if you can't,
well, Ericsson came out after the 20 game and said that the squad isn't hungry enough, that they don't want it enough, which is obviously I always have respect when players don't blame it on the manager, but I mean, to still hear now that United players aren't hungry enough, then you wonder who are the bad apples in that team, because you can't see someone like Bruno Fernandes not being hungry enough. Then you wonder what Marcus Rashford's attitude is
who's
like
actually
now.
been playing pretty well.
Yeah. Those are your leaders in the squad. So who is it that's not hungry?
In my opinion, again, whose job is it to sort that out? And Erik ten Hag just isn't the kind of guy to make ballsy decisions and drop players.
No.
He does the same thing over and over again and expects different results. Look at Pep Guardiola. Guardiola is the heartbeat of that team.
This is why I thought that although Ineos came in and although you had a good transfer window, I did think that the hype around, or not the hype, but the confidence from not necessarily United fans, because I don't think you were ever overconfident, but watching someone like Gary Neville, to me it's still Erik ten Hag. Like, it's not 1 minute to the next that he's going to suddenly play beautiful football just because he has 2 new players in there.
But just don't forget, they kept him because there was no one else.
No, there's no one else.
And that's the reality. So I think
that should concern you as well.
But that's also humbling, yeah. And I don't know whether that's my biggest concern now. Where do we go?
Because there are managers out there who are good who don't have a job. And
who would you get though?
Tuchel would have been asked, and he probably said no.
No, I don't think in the summer. I don't think Tuchel. I think there's a lot of layers to how that whole thing went down in the summer.
Do you know what I wish for United?
What?
That you get Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, I would have a hard time supporting that football club if we got Gareth Southgate. Honestly, I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, Dominic knows that because through a large part of our younger years, Liverpool's managers were terrible, and he had to watch me go through pain. So he knows. I know what he feels like. I have sympathy for him, but not for United. Let's run through some of the.
True friend.
And as a new Tottenham fan, Klaus is just seeing his team go from strength to strength.
It's unreal. I'm really enjoying this high. May I continue?
Let's talk about a few other results. City drawing twice now in a row.
Ooh, but
which means
appearing.
My boys go top.
Yeah.
Liverpool, after a
keep winning,
workmanlike win over Wolves, go top. Arsenal win. Chelsea win again. You said last week how impressive they are, and they are looking impressive.
Again, sorry, just one last thing on Ten Hag. Those are the reasons why I'm going. I think the writing's on the wall from him, because the teams around us are progressing. Spurs this season progressing under Ange. Villa under Emery. Slot has come in, plays a very different style of football to Klopp. Don't forget that. Is still getting results.
Yeah,
I think the writing's on the wall. But
I think difficult to compare him to Slot, because Slot taking over Liverpool, all the foundations were there. I think you're right where you say Chelsea, because Chelsea's foundations are terrible.
Yeah.
And if they now start playing good football and start winning games, then it's tough, even though they spend more money. But Everton finally won.
Well done. I'm very happy. And off the back of the takeover news, I back Sean Dyche to keep them up. I just do. I don't know. It's weird, but he just has a way. Yeah.
Do you still think they're going to switch him?
I think they'll keep him till the end of the season, and I think he'll keep them up. Personally, that's what I think. He'll manage to keep them up, and then I think there'll be talks, and I think then the decision will be made. So very similarly to when the Saudis came into Newcastle and Steve Bruce was there.
Yeah.
And Steve Bruce apparently at that stage said, "Hey, I'm the last part of the old regime. You should get rid of me." And I can see Sean Dyche being the type of guy to go, kept them up. The fans love me. You guys have other plans. I'm stepping away.
Yeah. It's good. Quite tight at the top. Only 2 points separating first and fifth place. So I think it's going to be a good season. Whenever I listen to any pundits or anything like that, it always seems like it's just Arsenal and City in the running there. And I do see City there, but I think that race for the top 4, and even if City have a few bad results, it's just an all-out scramble for those points. Because if Chelsea keep winning, if Liverpool keep winning, even if Villa keep winning, it is.
Yeah, I think the level is just so high. And I don't know, again, and this is one of the things that I read in one of the Manchester United forums, is that people are like, oh, the one season the league seems to be a little bit more open. We're nowhere near it. So I think it's exciting. It's very cool.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough, but big game on the weekend. So I'm sure we'll have something interesting to discuss next week. Last thing before we get... Oh, no, actually, let's get into that first. Let's get into Players of the Week. I've got 2 in my head, but I want to hear what you guys go for before I give mine.
I've also got 2 in my head.
Okay, so everyone's got an alternate there.
You have 2 as well.
I've got 2.
Okay.
But I don't think either of you will have them. So
okay.
Go. But who wants to start?
I'm not going to say what my other one was in case it ruins one of yours. So I'll go, mine is Cheslin Colby's try.
Oh, yeah.
He's inside stepped, and he reminds me a bit of Iron Robin, where he always went inside. And Cheslin, he doesn't always go inside, but yes, he stepped that guy
No,
into
he
next
went
week.
to 4 hot dogs.
But
there.
if you're that close to the touchline, you can't go anywhere else but step inside.
And
So how
like,
that guy didn't read it, I don't understand.
it was 3 or 4 defenders who he beat.
Mhm.
It was an
But
unbelievable
he was
try.
monumental in that game
Yeah.
again. He's
Yeah.
just unplayable.
But even Aronsa, who on the other side,
Yeah, he had a
when he
good game
got when
back.
he got brought up just short, he also
Yeah.
weaved in and out.
He had a great game back.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Really
He
nice.
almost grounded it with his torso.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I don't know
And
why
then
they
that-
looked at that so long, by the way. To me, it seemed so obvious that he hadn't ground that. It
Yeah.
went on forever.
Do you know which one they should have looked at? Sorry, now that we're back on rugby, which is Malcolm Marx. It looked like he just dropped it on that Oak's foot.
Yeah, I also
Yeah,
thought so. I
it
was
looked like he'd held it up by accident there. Yeah.
yeah, I think it was our own player's foot as well.
I was like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
good that we won by a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my player of the week, Cheslin Colby. He's a machine, but if I was a defender, I always knew where he'd go.
And you'd still not stop him.
Yes, my knees. Oh, my knees are sore.
So my player of the week is my alternate is also a rugby one. So I'll go with golf. Is on Sunday, Scotty Scheffler out of the bunker. I
Oh,
think
shit.
it was the third
Yeah.
hole.
Slam dunk.
Slam dunk.
Yeah.
Good one.
That was and the thing that I didn't really like about it is he walked out of the bunker like so nonchalant, like he does it every day. And I was like, dude,
Yeah.
come on,
The
that's
man's vanilla ice cream.
you got to celebrate
He
that
did
one.
have-
That's pretty cool.
He did have a moment on the Thursday, eh?
Tom Kim.
Yeah. But I think they're best friends.
They're,
so I
they're
think
very
they-
good mates. Yeah. I think there's a bit of banter going back. That was
So
good
when
to see.
Tom Kim was like running around going,
No, that was Sung Jae
Sung Jae
in, I
Im,
think.
yeah.
After,
Oh, okay.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
Tom King made a putt and went ballistic. And
Yeah.
then Scotty slammed, dunked one right after him, similar length. And he was like, what was that?
Yeah.
And then Tom Kim gave him the thumbs up. But I think it was all in good spirits.
I think they were having a good time. It looked
Yeah.
cool.
That's what you want to see, though.
When he was running around, he's going like, who was he going to sleep to?
It was just, I don't know. It was just against the opponents. He was just
Are you
like,
sure
It
was
was him. I thought it was
racing.
Wyndham Clark who did that.
No, it was one of the Koreans.
Oh.
it was one of the kids.
All right.
He was running in circles around
Yeah.
the green, going sleep, 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 sleep.
Yes.
God, funny.
The kind of stuff you love to see.
It's-
Both of mine are a bit of left of field, so I don't know which one to go for. Maybe I'll just go for both very quickly. The first one is one of the greatest strikers ever to wear a Liverpool shirt, Andy Carroll.
Yeah.
He's shout out to him. Bordeaux, massive football club in France, this year were forced to drop down into amateur football because they couldn't get their license, and he's decided to go and play for them because he loves the club, and he says it actually costs him money to play there. So he's just playing for a 4th division French side for shits and gigs.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
He must be dominating it.
But how do you think it costs him money? Because I think he earns 3,000 a week, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he probably has a massive house and like
Oh, he must live in the digs like we do. You can live with class and me.
live for the job you want. Live for the
That's
job you
fair.
want, not the job you have. You know.
Yeah.
And then my second one is another England striker, and I'm very happy about this. Is Wayne Rooney actually, because Wayne Rooney has taken over at Plymouth, the mighty Plymouth Argyle, as manager in England, and he had 3 shocking weeks to start the season. They got absolutely thumped. He's just won his 3rd game in a row as Plymouth manager, beating Luton, which is a good win.
Yeah, that is a big one.
And yeah, very happy for him. I mean, he needs to stop doing whatever he's doing because he's aging about 6 years a year.
Looks bad,
The
eh?
man looks terrible.
Yeah.
Isn't Rooney and Ronaldo the
Same age.
Yeah.
And then I saw a photo of
Rooney
the two of them
is
side by side.
Huge.
Huge. I think that dops so much, bro.
Yeah, I think he
He
does.
actually, you know what he looks like? He looks like an ex-Springbok prop. It's what he looks like.
Yeah.
Not, but I'm very happy for him. I've always liked him. I've always thought he was a great United servant and a very interesting character. So good to see him come back and perform in management.
Talking about doping a lot, we're going to Scotland
Yes.
on Wednesday night.
We are.
4 days, I think 6 rounds of golf.
5.5.
5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
Let me ask Dom first, what are you looking forward to most?
Honestly, I think being on the course because the feeling that it gives you when you're on those golf courses. We had a similar experience in Ireland when we went. Just links golf is just unbelievable, and I just know what it felt like when we were there last year when we pulled up to Gullen particularly, and that sort of feeling hits.
I thought you were going to say your deep fried margarita.
My deep fried pizza.
Yeah.
If they found a way to make it less salty, I'll give it another crack.
Put some sugar on it. Balance
But
it
I would
out.
say, but it's between walking down that first links golf fairway in Ely or Ely, whatever you pronounce it, and a Greg's sausage roll.
Yeah.
It's a close.
That's
close
gonna
race.
be fire. Klaus?
So last year when we went to Scotland, we played Gallon 2,
Yeah.
and this year we're playing it again. And I remember we were all lining up on the 17th hole, and it's this massive par 4 down the hill,
Yeah.
probably an incline of like 60% or something stupid. It's
Yeah.
ridiculously steep. And all of us have drivers in hand. I think you might have had your 2-iron or something like that. And we were like, okay, cool, we're going to try and drive the green here. And I remember you just topping it left.
I didn't even make the ladies' tee.
I hit it
And
over the.
so
I
I'm
hit it over
looking-
the road.
You hit it so
You
far
hit it
right.
over the road. Brian hit it into a bit of rough at the bottom. So I'm looking forward to.
Well, you hit it
You
on the
can
green.
tell the people what you did,
I
Klaus.
didn't want to brag about it, but I'm excited to see you on that tee again.
Why? Because I've developed a hook now or what?
No,
I'm
I
gonna
was
aim-
excited about it before.
I'm going to aim right.
It'll be very disappointing when we get there and there's a 75-kilometer-an-hour wind into us and no one can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think for me it'll be splitting the first G. You know,
first G.
But again,
first Guinness. I'm very excited about the golfers. I think you guys have already mentioned, but I think we're going to have a good time.
Scotland's a good place, man. Good people.
Good people,
Good people. Fun
good
people.
crack,
Good, yeah, good crack. Yeah.
good crack, as
It's
they say.
more Irish.
Yeah,
They're all,
gonna
they're
take
all, the, you know, they're all the same up there.
Celtics,
You know?
yeah.
inbred Islanders.
All right, then we look forward to seeing you.
All right,
Scotland.
it's going to be a good time. Yeah, I think that's it.
There we have it.
That's all she wrote.
Lovely. See you next week. Like, comment, subscribe. There's a few comments out there. I think, what did we say? For 10 likes, I'm going to get spray tanned. But it has to happen before, I think we need the 10 likes before Friday to give me a realistic chance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to do it when I'm back here.
Is it likes on YouTube or likes on Instagram?
Not likes on Instagram.
No,
likes
on
on Instagram
Come on, when did you become so soft?
No,
likes
come
on
on.
Instagram is wild.
We'd have them by tomorrow morning.
Dude, what happened before
I
we
can
even
get it
upload the
before we
video?
even
Stay back in Berlin.
Go to Scotland with a tan. But
Where have you been? I've
but
been
we
to
also,
Mallorca.
we also have to talk about the level of spray tan because there's like
I want you like midsummer
no.
Mexican.
not a chance
No, bro,
because
I
you
want
also
you
don't
like-
go brown. You just go orange.
I want you like
I know.
Tom Hanks in The Castaway.
With lots of freckles.
Yeah.
My goodness. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Let's chat about it. I already owe. I think I owe you guys Chinese food. So and
Well,
hats.
you
So,
owe me
we owe
Chinese
together.
food.
Yeah.
So you owe us hats.
I'm heavily in debt. Also, my betting isn't going so well anymore. So things are all not looking great for me.
And we will be going into a new tournament now for this Scotland holiday. We haven't yet decided how it's going to work. That we will figure out at the airport on
Yes.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
But
I have a couple of ideas.
Well,
We'll
we're
see.
having a lot of beers at there.
Yeah.
we there was an idea floating around that between the four of us, so the three of us and Brian, that we pair up for the duration of the tournament,
Yeah.
and then
You have some of the guest guys come in just as jokers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the one team, they are the odd on the odds, and the other team they are. So the odd holes they play contribute to interesting jokers. We can
Nice.
figure it out.
It's nice to have an evening flight for once. Usually we
Yeah.
have these like
It's red eyes. Well, the
6
one on
a.m.
Monday mornings, but we won't think about that now.
6 a.m. Yeah, but Monday morning we're not going to drink.
But
'Cause
we're
now-
we're very fortunate though, by the way, also when it comes to devising all these plans, to have a beautiful mind, Brian, who's like, so wait, I've got a format, guys. So if Klaus and Max, wait, no, hold on. I look forward to that on Wednesday evening over 4 beers.
we might have to stream it.
I think the
live.
ideas might get better as they go. Ooh, I actually do become better when I drink chipping wise because I think I get really loose because I was quite sauced because they had this Berliner Luft, but it tasted like.
Didn't he tell us at the beginning of the show he didn't drink that much?
No,
on the
this was
course?
afterwards. We
Oh,
did
right.
we did chipping practice and we were just playing for fun.
Oh,
But then take a flask man there, a nice hip flask.
Oh, and you think I need a big one because we drank like this whole bottle of Berliner Luft, but it was some weird party edition, so it tasted like vodka Red Bull.
What?
Because they now have
Sounds
different
terrible.
different flavors of Berliner Luft.
okay.
One of the things that nobody ever needed.
And then I think we drank 2 cases of beer between like 6 of us. So I was sauced and I was just swinging loosely. The other guys were shanking some into the forest. It was great to see. But then the rest of my game, I don't think is so good on the drive. So it's,
We have to time it.
anyways.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank
See you next week.
Bada bing, bada boom.
G'day, chassis.
God damn it.
Billy up.